Okay, so if you've been watching my channel, keeping up with everything, you'll know that I've been keeping an eye on some of the people who are crossing picket lines and scabbing during the big Hollywood strike. And a very significant one the last week or so has been Drew Barrymore, which surprised pretty much everyone. She generally has the air about her of somebody who genuinely cares about other people. And, you know, she's a Hollywood heiress. She's like a fourth generation Barrymore. She was born into wealth. So how much of that is a front, how much, who knows? But she was going to cross the picket line and start up her show again. So she, after about a week or so of being very tearful about how she was going to continue scabbing, she finally decided that she is postponing the show. However, because all that happened before I got my other video out, I did want to go over the Instagram video that she put out because I watched a little bit of it and it was pretty wild. Let's see what Drew had to say in her 4-minute Instagram video the other day.
I believe there's nothing I can do or say in this moment to make it okay. I wanted to own a decision so that it wasn't a PR protected situation and I would just take full responsibility for my actions. I know there's just nothing I can do that will make this okay for those it is not okay with.
I mean, there is one thing, and she did do it. Although, as we'll get into, some people are not looking to forgive, and I do kind of want to talk about that. But let's let her continue. And when she says, you know, this isn't a PR thing, I mean, it is public relations. She is putting it out, but like, I do believe her that she's not, you know, putting this in the hands of a PR firm, because they certainly wouldn't tell her to do a laptop, a webcam without makeup apology in her bedroom. That they certainly wouldn't do that. Be like, you can't do that kind of apology. Colleen Ballinger ruined it for everyone.
I fully accept that. I fully understand that. There are so many reasons why this is so complex. And I just want everyone to know my intentions have never been in a place to upset or hurt anyone. It's not who I am.
I mean, I believe that, but that doesn't matter because you did it.
I've been through so many ups and downs in my life, and this is one of them. I deeply apologize to writers. I deeply apologize to unions. I deeply apologize.
Okay, remember, when this video came out, she was still insisting that she was going to be continuing the show. So she was apologizing to the writers and the unions while still doing the thing that they're mad at her for. That's a worthless apology. That just shows that you feel bad about it. That's not what an apology is. An apology isn't when you feel bad. An apology is acknowledging your harm and making restitution.
I don't exactly know what to say because sometimes when things are so tough, it's hard to make decisions from that place. So all I can say is that I wanted to accept responsibility.
Well, we accept your responsibility.
I don't have a PR machine behind this.
That's obvious.
My decision to go back to the show, I didn't want to hide behind people. So I won't. And I won't polish this with bells and whistles and publicists and corporate rhetoric. I'll just stand out there and accept and be responsible. There's a huge question of the why. Why am I doing this? Well, I certainly couldn't have expected this kind of attention.
Yes, you could have. You were crossing the picket line. Yes, you could have. Come on. Your family has been in the industry for over 100 years. You know what scabbing is.
We aren't gonna break rules, and we will be in compliance. I wanted to do this because
it's not possible to do the kind of show that she does and be in compliance, because a talk show like that has segments by its nature, and segments have to be written. So even if it's just Drew doing those segments on her own off the cuff, that still counts as writing. That's her doing the writing.
Said, this is bigger than me, and there are other people's jobs on the line.
Okay, this is the rhetoric that we're starting to see. And if you'll remember, several months back, there was leaked information that one of the Hollywood execs said that they wanted to wait until October to come to the table with the WGA, because they were like, at that point, the writers will start losing their houses, and so the AMPTP will be in a better position to negotiate. And it's not just that, it's also that, you know, they're going to be pointing out the other people who aren't in the WGA but are working like IATSE or one of those other places, and they're going to say, see, they've been out of work too. They're hurting too, but they're hurting because the AMPTP is letting this play out. They're hurting because the AMPTP has let it drag out for months on end because they don't want to pay their workers for what they're doing, and they want to replace their workers with AI. There's all sorts of things, and it won't just stop with the writers and the actors. IATSE also has concerns in the industry. It's not just them. So when you see people point out, it's like, oh, well, you know, the crew, they have jobs too, and they need to pay mortgages too. Yeah, they do. That's a very important thing. But if you go back to work now without the other members of the production joining in, you're undermining their efforts, and you're undermining your own future efforts.
And since launching live in a pandemic, I just wanted to make a show that was there for people in sensitive times. And I weighed the scales, and I thought, if we could go on during a global pandemic and everything that the world has experienced through 2020,
I will take this opportunity to point out that the pandemic is still going on, despite what everyone wants you to think. But the way she's using it, she's citing the pandemic as inspiration for when she started the show, but that has nothing to do with now. Because most people have just pretended that the pandemic isn't going on, so it doesn't have the same like emotional weight now as it did then. The people who are shut in are are people who still actually care about COVID exposure. This is just a sympathy ploy. This is just, I wanted to do something nice for the people. You're making money for it. Your crew's making money for it. This is a job.
Why would this sideline us? So I want to just put one foot in front of the other and make a show that's there for people, regardless of anything else that's happening in the world, because that's when I think we all need something that wants to be there, being very realistic in very realistic times. So that is my why.
That's not actually her why. Her why is that she wanted to make sure her crew was paid, which, as I brought up, yeah, it is a big concern for people who aren't striking but are still affected by the strikes, still impacting their paychecks and stuff like that. However, Drew Barrymore is worth $125 million. Now, these celebrity net worth sites, obviously, this isn't an exact figure. They can get things pretty wildly wrong sometimes. But Drew Barrymore is a fourth-generation Barrymore. Her family has basically been there since the inception of the film industry, okay? She is part of a dynasty. And she could have paid out of pocket for every single crew member without going back to work. And she could have done all of that. She probably wouldn't even see... Okay, she might have to sell some shares of something or whatever, but she is super rich. So if she actually cared about the crew, making sure that they were taken care of, she could dip into her own reserves and pay for them. And it's not like it's unheard of. We were seeing, I think The Rock donated over $1 million to a strike fund. I think Greg Berlanti, the guy who was show running a lot of the CW DC shows, I think he just did like over $1 million to strike funds. So there's things like that she could have done that would made sure that her crew were paid during the strike without crossing a picket line. Fortunately, after all of the internet pressure, Drew Barrymore and The Talk pausing talk show returns amid strike pushback. The actress announced last weekend the Drew Barrymore show would be returning without writers amid the strike, but she has announced she's pausing her self-titled talk show amid the writer's strike. I have listened to everyone and I am making the decision to pause the show's premiere until the strike is over, Barrymore wrote in a statement on Instagram Sunday. I have no words to express my deepest apologies to anyone I have hurt, and of course, to our incredible team who works on the show and has made it what it is today. She concluded, we really tried to find our way forward, and I truly hope for a resolution for the entire industry very soon. I think these words are generally sincere, so it worked. She's not doing the show anymore. And yeah, like this one said, actually, I think this headline changed since last I opened it because it just said Drew Barrymore was pausing her show return. I've got The Talk postpones return on CBS following Drew Barrymore. And like another domino, the Jennifer Hudson show pushes back return amidst writer's strike. So we're seeing the knock-on effects of the public pressure that Drew Barrymore was facing for crossing the picket line. And as this wonderful tweet said, don't stop bullying people online. This strategy is working. We even have, I saw this thread by David Slack, who is a TV writer, who he's going after Dancing with the Stars. He's tagging a bunch of people who are involved with the next season of Dancing with the Stars. Because even though that is a reality show, it's still WGA covered. And you've got a lot of stars involved, including the not racist Matt Walsh. But yeah, public pressure is on to stop more shows from being produced during this, and we're going to see a lot of reality TV being produced, and a lot of that is going to use scab labor for writing, or just go non-union for the writing. But it's good to see that the pressure campaigns are working, and it's good to see that Drew Barrymore backed off. Now, let's go to some of the discourse about how to celebrate Drew Barrymore backing off. People responding to Drew Barrymore making the right decision with "she didn't do it until she got blowback" are what's wrong with our country. You make a wrong call, you listen, and you correct. That's not the thing to punish. Fuck you, do the right thing. Okay, I'll do the right thing. Oh, here we go, trying to walk it back now. Don't even think about it, lady social media. There is a nugget of truth here, and I've got my opinion on it, but I kind of want to get some of the back and forth. I'm also curious what chat has to say about it, because it is a good thing that Drew Barrymore stopped. It is good that after all the public pressure, she stopped her show. But let's see what we've got here. Trekkie Bill, he is a decently sized Star Trek account on Twitter. I follow him. He goes, fucking brain dead take. You don't forgive a fucking scab because they suddenly face blowback for being a piece of shit. So what's the reward for eventually doing the right thing? Nothing. You should have done the right thing in the first place. Okay, fuck that attitude, first off. Like, in general. In terms of scabbing, I'll get into it. But, like, this as a general attitude, you should have done the right thing in the first place, and we shouldn't reward people for changing their mind and doing the right thing. That's a bad attitude to have. That's shitty. I can't sign off on this. And then I had this one tweet. They locked their account, and I couldn't find, like, a screenshot of it, but it was cached in my bookmarks. So this tweet said, "Gotta hand it to Drew Barrymore. Not only did she decide to do the right thing, she also made herself an example of how to publicly change your mind and your actions when you've learned better. It's never too late to make a better choice." Yeah, Luke Barnett, who was the one who said this one, goes, "It's almost as if Drew Barrymore listening to criticism and doing the right thing is having positive results. It's almost as if we should create a society that encourages people to listen and change. It's almost as if we should be a society that forgives." We've got more praise for Drew Barrymore. Honestly, recognizing you are wrong, apologizing, and reversing course publicly is tough, and Drew Barrymore deserves praise for getting there. If studio chiefs had her strength of character, the strike would be over. Also, I interviewed Drew Barrymore when The Wedding Singer came out, and she was so nice, and it was a lovely experience for me. I'm glad I can go back to being a fan. That we got to talk about. Yeah, it's great that Drew Barrymore stopped. It's great that the show's not going on. That is a win for the WGA. Drew Barrymore scabbed, and it's not just a case of, oh, well, you did the wrong thing, but you acknowledged it and apologized. So, now we can go back to pretending like you didn't undermine people during a strike. I don't think people should be going out of their way to continue harping on Drew Barrymore. Like, I'm putting this video out unless she does something else. Like, I'm pretty much saying all I have to say about it. But she scabbed. She harmed the strike movement when she didn't have to. She is in a financial situation where she could have just paid for everyone herself out of pocket, and it would have been fine. She harmed workers in Hollywood by doing this. Technically, I think she's her show set in New York, but I use Hollywood as, the general. WJ East and West are both on strike. I think our energy should be focused on targeting people who are currently scabbing, like this tweet says. So we focus our ire on Mar, who will revel in it as he welcomes the only guest willing to cross a picket line, making his final descent into the alt-right cesspool. Yeah, Bill Maher, currently scabbing. I don't imagine he will stop. But I don't think that Drew Barrymore should be allowed a future in Hollywood after this. I think people should think twice before accepting a booking on her show. Scabbing hurts everyone, and you can't let scabs back in. So I'm not gonna harp on Drew Barrymore. I'm not gonna make this like an anti-Drew Barrymore channel or anything like that. I'm just gonna move on from it. I can't, I don't. I'm nobody in this vast internet landscape. So my opinion, weigh that for what it is. I don't think that people in Hollywood should be working with Drew ever again after this. I don't think anybody should be working with scabs in Hollywood ever. And even if they change their mind and do the right thing, and there is something to be said for rewarding people for changing their mind and doing the right thing. But scabbing isn't just having a bad opinion. Scabbing is doing actual material harm to the labor movement. When you're dealing with this kind of a business, when you're dealing with these unions, I don't think you can let it go. Drew Barrymore is richer than God. She'll be fine whether she gets work again ever or not. I mean, she was born with a silver spoon in her mouth. She's fine. I don't think people should be working with her. I don't think people should be expending a lot of energy on it. I think in the future, if people do work with her, maybe side-eye them. I certainly think that SAG-AFTRA should probably look at kicking her out, even though she didn't do anything to violate SAG-AFTRA rules. She definitely crossed the WGA, and I think worker solidarity is very important, and I think SAG-AFTRA should definitely weigh that in whether they allow her to continue to be a member. But in terms of people who are happy that she's done the right thing and are celebrating her, I don't care to browbeat them over that. I get it. I understand people having an emotional connection, like a parasocial connection to certain actors. I get that people have watched Drew Barrymore's show and quite like it. I've seen positive things from it. I've never watched it myself, but it's my understanding when Dylan Mulvaney was on there, that was pretty nice. Drew Barrymore has done some good work. Didn't she direct a pretty lesbian movie? It was a roller derby movie, right? Which I just associate with lesbians. But so I get it. I get that there are complicated emotions involved, and I get people want their faves to be doing the right thing, and they want to go ahead and forgive them once they've done the wrong thing and then apologized for it. And interpersonally, I'm not looking to browbeat any of that. That's fine. I don't care. But I don't think she should work in the industry again. I think she should be done after this. And so I would recommend that any celebrity guests who might be lined up for the Drew Barrymore show in the future, once the strikes are over, reconsider that booking. Talk to someone else. But yeah, I would say that's about it. Thank you, Drew, for reversing course, but you still did it. And I think you're going to have to live with that for the rest of your life.
Hey, thanks for watching. I'm trying to get my channel monetized, so your view means a lot.
Don't forget to toss me a like and subscribe and ring the bell. I stream every Monday and Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific, so catch me live and join in on the convo. You can find all my socials in the description below, and thank you to all my patrons with a special shout out to Piftle Cakes and Ryan D. Your support means the world. Catch you next time.